Section 21A1, discuss the physical condition of an employee, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. Secondly, Solar Cannabis Company, HCA, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares. Thirdly, Police Brotherhood Collective Bargaining Unit, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And lastly, Story versus Town of Dartmouth, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation when an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the litigation position of the public body and the chair so declares. We will be leaving for executive session and we expect to be back here for 6:30, the beginning of the regular session. Let's move. Thank you very much. Select Board meeting of February 12th, 2024. The meeting starts here in room 304. It's an open meeting. Announcement of recording of the meeting. Acknowledgement of members attending remotely, which we have none. Therefore, we will not do a roll call vote. We'll vote as a group. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing so we may honor our veterans, both past and present. Thank you. Please be seated. One quick announcement.
Get this kid involved.
Today is February 12th.
He doesn't know.
It is the 215th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, that's right.
I personally,
Yeah, no.
studying Lincoln for years. I think he's our greatest president and our greatest leader. One quick quote from Mr. Lincoln. He's had many. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. Mr. Lincoln. Thank you for indulging me on that one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. It's like
February 12th, for real.
Yeah, it's like for real. It's
The President's Day is like a fake. This is real.
one of your watermark things here.
It's exactly February. Thank you.
Because every time we saw you on remote, Mr. Lincoln was always
He's
looking over your
He's
shoulder.
still there.
Yep.
He provides examples for me every day. Okay, thank you.
Come on.
Okay. Oh, wow, okay. First on the list is the election schedule and town meeting calendar. I assume that's what the screen is for? No. Not at all. Okay, great. But we have an illustrious guest here with us tonight. Please
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
I'm Sarah Haskell-Aruda, and I'm the town clerk. And I'm before you tonight to talk about a couple election things and then also our town meeting calendar. I'll start with the town meeting calendar. In conjunction with Mr. McGinnis, we generally collaborate on the dates for joint meetings and when things need to be submitted, so that's what you have before you. There was a little delay because we were unsure about what was going to happen regarding the budget and a possible override, and that would have adjusted some of these dates. Once this is reviewed and approved, I will place it on the town clerk's website under town meeting information so that people will have a good idea of when things will be due and when meetings will occur. Any questions about that part? Okay.
So far, you're doing pretty well.
And then you also see before you a memo, and it's just giving you an idea of when we will be having elections this year. We have 4 elections. The first will be on March 5th, and that will be our presidential primary. April 2nd will be our annual town election. The state primary will be held on September 3rd, and the state election will be November 5th. Also before you, you will see the warrant for the election being held on March 5th. It indicates all the polling locations as well as what offices will be on that ballot. We've already received more than 3,000 vote-by-mail applications, and I have staff literally working on it as we speak. We hope to have the vast majority of those out by the end of the week, giving people about a 3-week turnaround time to have those back to us. We must have those vote-by-mail ballots back by 8 p.m. on Election Day on the 5th of March. But we'll still have early in-person voting the week prior, as well as voting on Election Day.
Questions, comments?
Mail-in ballots, they have the option to use the mail, regular mail, or they can drop it off in the silver box in front of the
You
town
mean
hall.
to
correct?
return?
Yes.
So they can be returned by United States Postal Service. They can be brought into the town clerk's office. They can be put in the silver box outside, which is labeled. They can also be put in a small silver box outside the town clerk's office, which is also labeled. They cannot be returned to the polling place on Election Day. They must come through the town clerk's office so that we make sure that people are getting their ballots checked off and all of those those types of things.
So if you want your mail-in ballot to be counted, it's best to bring it directly to Town Hall. You have 3 options at Town Hall to bring it to, correct?
You have 3 options. I've now done 8 elections with mail-in. I've not had any issues. Dartmouth's Postal Service has worked really, really hard in collaboration. They even at times have ensured that our stuff is not going out to regional facilities so that the turnaround time is a little bit faster. So I really do need to give them the credit.
I have no qualms with the post office personnel in South Dartmouth and North Dartmouth, none whatsoever.
Yep.
Beyond that,
Yep.
the regional, yes. Providence, Boston, yeah, I have a problem.
Yeah, Dartmouth, they've worked really hard in collaboration. They've delivered ballots to me on Saturdays, even though this building's not open and so on and so forth. But we will take them hand-delivered. We will not give out any ballots by mail. We cannot hand them out. We must mail those. But again, we will have absentee voting in the office until the Monday prior at noontime. We will have a full week. I think it works out to being 46 hours of early voting here at Town Hall. Again, all of this information is on our website. Magnolia, our communications coordinator, has been working in conjunction to get the word out on social media and our website. And DCTV, everybody's been collaborating with us. But that'll be our big first election will be on the 5th, and there'll be a really quick turnaround time for that local election on April 2nd. Tomorrow is the last day to turn in nomination papers for the local election. I will do my best to be here. I will make arrangements to get those from people, even though Town Hall is not open tomorrow. So we will get those in.
They cannot put those in the silver box.
You cannot put them in a silver box. They must be turned into me because I give you a receipt, and you must have a receipt. I must take those in hand. I have put a phone number on the door here, so if you come and I have not made my way here yet, you can call me and I will make arrangements, whether that's that I come somewhere to meet you and take them in hand or ask the police department to take them in hand. I will make arrangements with anyone who has outstanding papers to receive those by 5 tomorrow. My plan is actually to be here all day, though.
Can you give out that number?
508, I lied. 774-929-5176. 774-929-5176. I only want phone calls regarding the nomination papers.
Thank you.
A lot going on.
Our office would be a more appropriate place to contact me.
Any other comments or questions?
No, I was just going to say this calendar is very helpful.
Oh, thank you. I would like to say I designed it, I inherited it, and Mr. McGinnis is really helpful in helping me to set those dates, because much of them I really don't have any say-so on, except for the pieces that come out to my office. So it is absolutely a collaboration between myself and Mr. McGinnis.
You need to take a vote on the signing to
Make a
vote
motion
to approve
to
the election warrant.
To sign the election warrant.
Second.
As presented.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear none. 4-0.
Great.
Great work, and we appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time. Have a good one.
Okay, next. Recreation Center Building Committee appointments. Mr. McGinnis?
Yes, so as a continuation from the previous meetings, the board asked to put this on the agenda for this meeting, but there's also some subsequent letters of interest we received since the last meeting, so they were added to the agenda tonight and are here in person, in case you want to discuss their qualifications with them and their letters of interest, as you did with the other candidates.
Great. Going by the list on here, Courtney Cohen, step forward and let's hear what you have to say.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Courtney Cohen. I am currently working for the City of New Bedford as an environmental project manager. Been there about 2.5 years. I am a longstanding community person. I'm born and raised here in Dartmouth, and raising my children here in Dartmouth. They both go to Dartmouth schools. A lot of community involvement as far as youth sports, Dartmouth Girls Athletic League is not only where I played as a child, but also I'm a board member there today, longstanding field hockey coach, and then I also do a lot of coaching for the Dartmouth Youth Lacrosse Club, getting our season starting now. I'm on the Dartmouth YMCA Board of Advisors meeting, the South Coast Y Board of Advisors. I also worked for our town here for 7 years as a Board of Health inspector. So a lot of familiarities with municipality and permitting and the importance of that and the ins and outs of the workings of municipalities. Prior to working here at the town, I was with a private civil engineering firm, Prime Engineering, local, and worked mainly in the South Coast area as well, civil environmental engineering. So everything from project management, design, layout. So a lot of familiarities. I hope I can bring my professional and personal experience to the committee. I think this is a long-standing rec center that is needed. The kids need it. We need more spaces for the children to play. Again, I have 2 young daughters here in the community in Dartmouth Public Schools. My youngest is in 2nd grade and my oldest is in 7th grade. So lots more schooling and time for sports too. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you for submitting your name.
Sure.
Any questions?
No, thanks for making it harder.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
next on the list is Sherry Tatro.
Hello, my name's Sherry Tatro, and I wanted to be on the, I work for South...
Sarah? Excuse me.
I work for Southeastern Mass Educational Collaborative, and I've worked there for 31 years, and we work with adults and students with disabilities. So I was wanting to be on the committee to sort of represent that population. I started the Dartmouth Girls Athletic League field hockey program in Dartmouth. So I have an interest. I had 3 girls that also went through the Dartmouth Public Schools and have also played sports throughout. And I do know the difficulties that we've had with field space and particularly indoor field space. So I really feel like my kids are older, they're grown. It really would only benefit grandchildren at this stage in the game, but I know that it's needed. So that's why I also want to just sit in on the committee to represent the girls of Dartmouth.
Comments or questions?
Same thing. Thanks for making it harder.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Helio Rosa, is Helio here? Great.
Good evening. My name is Helio Rosa. Currently, I am the Vice President for Facilities and Real Estate for the YMCA of Greater Boston. In that role, I am responsible for all strategic planning, capital planning, space design. Greater Boston covers 13 locations throughout mostly within the 128 belt. But in that role, I'm hiring architects, I'm hiring engineers, owners, project managers, and I'm responsible for developing all projects within Greater Boston. Previous to that, I served as the Director of Design and Construction and Property Management right here at South Coast Health. Heavily involved, again, really the department started out as the space planning department. Similar role, hired all the architects, hired all the engineers, construction managers, owners, project managers. So I'm well versed in the process of developing both large scale and smaller scale project. In that role, because I hold a construction supervisor's license, we would pull our own permits. We would design a lot of our own projects on the smaller side that we would be able to do on our own. The larger projects, obviously, we would have a team of folks supporting that type of work. Healthcare is heavily regulated, so when it came to regulations and a lot of paperwork, we did a lot of work associated with that. There's always a lot of stakeholders in not only my current role within the Y, but as you can imagine, trying to get consensus within South Coast, managing doctors and other folks is always a tall task. And I had the good fortune of working with a lot of different folks, trying to make projects real. Things like the Cancer Center in Fairhaven, they had one in Fall River, so we're talking about, at that time, $30, $40 million projects, and that's my role. I cut my teeth in architecture, went to school, worked for a design firm for many years in Boston. Also got to run my own construction work because both firms were sister companies of each other. So when I wasn't wearing my architect's hat, I was wearing my construction manager's hat, and then eventually moved into the owner's role at the South Coast in the YMCA. So I think, given my background, given the experience, I am at the disposition of the town to do whatever is necessary to advise, to guide, to be hands-on in making sure this important project moves forward. In addition to all that, I have 3 kids. So I've been involved in Dartmouth youth soccer since 2005, coaching all of them within the leagues. I follow my kids around in soccer and in basketball. I also referee at Dartmouth Youth Soccer. I'm a high school official, and this year moved into college. So when it comes to recreation, like so many of us, we live and breathe this. I think it's an important project for the town to support all the goals and the needs that are not only our kids, but all the residents have. This is super exciting to be a part of. So again, thanks for the consideration. I'm at the disposition of the town for whatever is necessary.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lastly, is Peter Pacheco here? Yes. Ah, okay, Peter.
Peter Pacheco, Mr. McDonald, you can ignore my email. I'm sorry about that. I'm sure you get flooded. When I saw the posting on Facebook that the town was setting up this committee, I expressed interest, and my reaction was, well, it's about time. I think what I'll bring to the committee is twofold. One is my personal experience. I'm an electrical engineer during the day, and I work for a company, MITA Corporation, where we're basically a federally funded research center that we manage and also advise the government on projects, which I won't bore you with, the research stuff that we do. But those projects entail a lot of money, and it involves, utilizing an expansive network to bring in different perspectives on the execution of the project. I think that'll be applicable because the other role that I have here in the town is I'm a board member on the Dartmouth Youth Soccer Association. My role there is literally to run one of the soccer programs there, which in and of itself is a soccer club. And that experience has allowed me to travel throughout the state of Massachusetts. I've seen other towns and the facilities that they have, talked to some of the folks out there and seen like what works and what doesn't work. I think those experiences should be leveraged, whether it be me or I'm sure the town can reach out to all those facilities and talk to the right people, but bring those experiences in to, as we build out the project here, that we build a facility that I think could be world-class. I also bring the network of, in the role that I have at DYSA, with working with other youth programs here in the town, mostly the basketball and baseball, in terms of what their needs are and what are the challenges that they run into, because we collaborate, and we look for ways to try and help one another. You've got a long list of qualified people who came before me, but that's what I offer, and thank you for the opportunity.
Questions? Wonderful. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay. We currently have 7 applicants. We determined
we have 9.
We have 4 positions.
We have 9
Nine
applicants.
9?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that's 9 applicants, right?
9 applicants.
We have
I missed 2
two
last
for-
week. I'm sorry.
The 2 extras tonight.
Right, thank you. 9 for 4 positions. We determined last week that the position that was not taken by the Finance Committee is they were late in coming to the game, and we've decided last week to vote to maintain the 4.
I wanted to make mention, though, I did speak to members of the Finance Committee who, when that was discussed, said that not all members were present, and they thought that they would have a member.
I personally have had no conversation, no communication with any member, and not the chair of the Finance Committee, saying that give us a break, give us some time, or whatever. No contact. We made this has been out as a notice for a while. Now, as a group, we can vote on that. We actually have voted. If we want to change our mind or
No,
vote
I don't
again,
think,
or we want to leave it
my,
alone.
my opinion is to leave it alone.
I feel the same way. If you want to bring it up for a vote or discussion, that's up to you, Mrs. Brooks, but,
Nope,
okay. It's unfortunate, but I think,
it is unfortunate.
yep.
But I do know that as one of the ad hoc members, the director of finance will be there.
Yes.
So he'll be able to keep the FinCom members
Okay,
abreast
and they
of
can
the
always attend,
situation.
there'll be public meetings they can
Sure.
attend. The last thing I want to mention is that this is a commitment that could be as much as 2 full years. It certainly would be once a month, and as you get closer, it could be twice a month. And I will say the success of our best buildings come when we have those kind of meetings with people attending. So that's a commitment we have for us, and we are incredibly grateful for the 9 applicants. It's a great problem for us to have. I will say this, that we thank everyone for applying, and for those who are not chosen, we have, as of right now, we have as many as 13 committees across town that need members. Committees like Community Preservation, Waterways, the Youth Commission, and as many as 10 others, and there could be even more than that. So for those who are not there, not chosen, we thank you, but certainly consider other committees in town, because there's a lot of important work to do. We thrive on volunteers, and we succeed or fail on having good volunteers willing to make those commitments. So thank you to everyone who applied. Having said that, we need to.
Yeah, let me just say, in trying to decide membership on this committee and any committee, you look at what people have submitted, and on paper, you're able to determine what they could bring to each committee. The one thing that is not on paper that is difficult to decide is the desire. The desire is easy because, number one, they sent the letter in. But after that, you don't know what it is. So you try to find the best fit possible, and you try to pick people from different aspects to try to coalesce and make a committee. I wish we could make the committee a little bit larger, but having served on large committees, sometimes the task at hand is just absolutely ludicrous. So I don't know. This has been
So having served on committees, it's entirely possible that during the course of this time, someone may not be able to fulfill
Right.
their responsibility.
Right.
And we have a pool of candidates who have shown their interest.
Yeah.
So, in no order of selection, and just going by the names, I'm going to nominate,
Should we nominate one at a time?
well, yeah. If
Rather
you-
than a
Yeah, if
slate?
you want to do that.
Maybe we shouldn't nominate first, maybe we should.
Well-
Do we want to go to each member and they can name 4?
Well, all right, I'll tell you the 4 people I was going
All right,
to.
I will keep a tally.
Why don't we do that? I think we all have a list of
Rather than nominate.
who
I mean,
we think.
I mean, I have my list here, but I have down Adam Mathis, Helio Rosa, Nathan Silva, and Sherry Tatro. I think the 4 of them bring a diversity and from different segments. We do have several people who have construction backgrounds. So we do have, a fallback here and there, but I think what we have here in the 4 that I have chosen, I think is a good diverse background to represent different aspects of the town, and also to keep an eye on, the process as moving forward. And I think the experience that I see in a few of these individuals in that aspect of shepherding something through is, I think is tantamount. You know,
All right, so I just want to make sure I got them all. Helio, Sherry, Adam, and Nathan.
yes.
We are 4. Okay, so Mr. Mickelson,
Yes. So,
tell me your slate.
I have a problem. No problem with the first 3, and again, not in the, not as I'm naming them, is anyone more important than the other. I think the whole group is important, in my opinion. I can't thank you enough. I know when Dave Tattlebaum and myself negotiated and we're on the police department, the police building, the new police station. It was tedious, to say the least, and we had a lot of good help. Thank God we had professional help, and it brought us through it. But it probably will never happen again. But our budget came in $1 million under budget.
So Stan, could you just repeat, though, the four
Yeah.
names?
So I have Helio Rosa, Nathan Silva, Sherry Tatral, and Peter Pacheco.
Okay. David, I'll go. I'll go, because you're the chair. I'm going to, I agree with, I'd also like to see Helio at the table as well as Nathan at the table. I feel that Courtney Cohen brings a perspective that I think would be needed with both her experience in recreational activities as well as civil and environmental engineering, et cetera. And I'm going to cast my 4th. Wait a minute, I circled 3. Oh, that's the problem. I will hold off on my 4th. I will offer 3 names.
Okay. My 4 votes are identical without any early collaboration with Mr. McDonald, Mr. Rosa, Mr. Mathis, Mr. Silva, and Ms. Tatro.
Sorry, Dave.
All right, sorry, Dave, can you, we were,
What's that?
Could you say those again? Sorry.
Sure.
Helio.
who are they, Dave?
Helio, Adam Mathis,
Nathan Silva, Sherry Tatral.
I am particularly thrilled that Sherry Tatro offers us a perspective with those with disabilities. I think it's critically important. And it's great because that facility should provide some real opportunities.
All right, so basically, we have 4 of us agree on two people, so I'll make that motion that we appoint Helio Rosa and Nathan Silva to the, I gotta get the full name of the committee, the Recreation Center Building Committee.
Rosa, Silva, and Tatro.
No, just the 2 that all 4 of us agree on.
Okay.
Which is Helio Rosa and Nathan Silva.
We have a motion?
Second.
Second?
Yep, you got a second.
Are we prepared to vote on these 4? These 2?
2? Yes.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hear none. 4-0. Mr. Rosa and Mr. Silva. Thank you very much.
Okay, on the,
I had 3 votes. I will put my 4th vote for Sherry Tatro,
Okay.
giving her 4 votes from this board.
well, actually, 3. Did you have Sherry?
I
Oh, okay,
I
so
had
you
Sherry.
vote.
Yep.
All right, I missed one, sorry.
Yep.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Gotta go.
You know what that's
Need a
like.
whistle?
I know what that's like. All right,
Referee must be going home to lunch of kids, right? Oh, no, he's got a game.
all right, so then make a motion that we appoint Sherry Tatro to the
Second.
Second.
Recreation Center Building
Second.
Committee.
Discussion on that motion? Ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Thank you, Sherry Tatro.
Okay, so then we have 2 votes for Adam, 1 vote for Peter, and 1 vote for Courtney. So,
Do we go by, he has the
I'm out
most-
of votes.
most of the group? I'm sorry?
I said I'm
no,
out of votes.
it's whoever makes the motion and go from there. So I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Adam Mathis to the remaining position.
You have a second on that motion? Second motion.
Okay, motion failed.
Can I second? I'll second that motion.
No, for discussion purposes.
Right.
That's what the chair always does.
Yep, for discussion purposes, thank you.
Okay.
Any discussion or comments on the vote for Mr. Mathis?
I'd like to make, we can't, we'll have to go through that. Can I make a motion for some?
We have a motion on the table with a second.
Right.
Any discussion or comment on that motion? The motion is for Mr. Mathis. Are we ready to vote? Let's do it individually. Mr. Mickelson?
No.
No?
No.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Brooks?
No.
No, and I will vote yes, that's 2-2.
I said it doesn't
Okay.
happen.
Can I make a motion?
Beauty of having odd, even number of members
I
voting.
make a motion to appoint Peter Pacheco to the Rec Center Building Committee.
We have a second on that motion?
I'm just reading. Soccer. Soccer.
Any comment or question, any second on that motion?
Second for discussion purposes.
Okay. Discussion on the motion on the table, which is to vote for Mr. Pacheco.
All right, well, I see the involvement in DYSA and also in Vipers. Now I believe Mr. Rosa is also involved with the DYSA.
He is.
So there's two,
As is Nathan
Right.
Silva.
right, and I mean, not to say, I mean, you're gonna end up getting,
Yeah, but all for
when
a
you
se-
have, when you have more than one child, you're gonna end up having different organizations. So, I mean, it could be DGAL, and it could be DYSA, and then DYAA, and then DYFL, and, I mean, they're,
all for the same good.
It's
yeah,
important.
I mean, like I said, it's hard to determine, what sometimes you have to feel what is best. And sometimes it's easy to make these appointments, and then there's times like this when it's just so difficult because you have a plethora of riches. I wish we'd had more spots.
Yes, I will speak on this motion, and my vote has nothing to do with the person or character of Adam Mathis or Peter Pacheco. As I stated last week when we looked at the candidates, and I didn't state it from here, but I stated it as a discussion point with someone in the elevator, is I was saddened that we didn't have any women candidates coming with the voices of our female athletes. And tonight I see that we have both Sherry, who is a mom of girls, and Courtney, who is a mom of girls, and both with their own Dartmouth recreational experiences in their youth. And I am leaning towards putting my vote solely into those categories. So, for full transparency.
It's a reasonable
The only I would,
thought.
the only add that my experience with the building like this is more about the building and the process of the building than it is anything else.
Right.
Other uses and.
And Courtney has both that experience as well as the recreation, so that's why I gave her my vote.
It's the longest vote in the history of.
Yes.
It's,
Well, usually, it's just usually one candidate.
yes, it
Yes.
is.
You know, I mean, it's
a great
just-
problem.
It
does speak
Nobody
for the-
wants to get involved, and now all of a sudden, I mean,
Good.
trust me, this is great. I mean, I'm excited about this, and we have so many people involved,
still
want to
need-
be involved.
We still need a second.
still.
On nothing,
We have a
I-
second for discussion.
for discussion only.
Yeah, discussion only. So, I mean, but the motion is on the floor.
Yes.
So now it's a vote for that floor. yeah. I'm starting to get swayed here.
Ready for vote?
Yeah.
Ready for vote, Mrs. Brooks?
Yep.
Do we want to vote individually? Okay. This vote on the motion, Mr. Mickelson,
For Peter Pacheco, yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Come back to me. Come back to me, please.
Mrs. Brooks?
No?
No? I will vote yes.
I'm swayed by Ms. Brooks's discussion because far and few between some of these committees, we don't have a diverse gender membership.
Your vote, Mr. McDonald.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna vote no.
Okay, 2-2.
Make a motion that we appoint Courtney
Cohen?
Cohen. Thank you.
Second?
Let's see where my
Second.
mind is going.
Okay. Discussion on this motion. We ready to vote? Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all for making this a very difficult.
I'm sorry that we had
Thank you,
to,
I feel,
we
yeah.
had to leave some very, very important people out of this, and very dedicated, but
be,
please, you never know, you might get a phone call in a couple of months. But please don't be discouraged by this.
And even the I will say, gentlemen who sent letters in and came before us last week, all excellent candidates, and we need their input. So these will be general meetings, so they certainly can attend the meetings, and let's see if we can get this done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Yes.
That was a interesting challenge.
Yeah. I need,
It was
Pacheco?
it was
Please
satisfying.
reconsider something for us, will you?
Heidi, I need another chocolate.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco.
There you go.
Oh, man, it better not be squishy.
Let me hammer it for you. Okay, communication survey results presentation, something we've been waiting excitedly for, and it's time. Is it?
Yeah.
Real good?
Gross.
You hold it in your hand.
You know, he had it in his pocket.
Oh,
I had it in the microwave.
Yeah, that's the same thing, your pocket.
So Magnolia McComish, our communications
Microwave.
coordinator, is here tonight, and as
Put
you
a
know, she's
commission
been
maybe
working
also.
on a communication survey for a number of months to try and determine the best ways that the community of Dartmouth, which is mostly people that reside or do business in Dartmouth, but also outside of Dartmouth, that people that are interested in things Dartmouth. So she's going to go over the results of that survey and also what she's been doing in her time here to date, also to kind of address the survey, but also to address a number of other communication items that we've tried very hard to address, with the goal being really to increase outreach in the community, and I think you're going to see that she has definitely done that in her short time here. So with that,
with two communications, I'm just going, while she's setting up, I just wanted to state that tomorrow, there is expecting a storm coming our way. Dartmouth Public Schools has canceled, and the town hall will be working remotely, except for Sarah Aruda, who will be here to take paperwork.
so papers are due, election papers that are pulled are due tomorrow, so she will be here, best she can, weather permitting, but she's generally very good about that, so she should be here in case people want to turn in their papers.
Pickup
And
is
give the
delayed
hours
one day.
again.
And trash pickup delayed one day.
Yeah, and the hours are
8:30, she said,
8:30 to
she said she
4:30?
had until 5 o'clock by the
5 o'clock,
deadline
correct, yep.
to
So
get
8:30 to
paperwork.
5
And so
PM.
she will be here for that purpose.
Great.
And if she's not, there's a telephone number to contact her, and she said that, but
Call the
these,
town clerk's office, she'll be there, cell phone.
yeah, otherwise, all of this has been pushed out by Magnolia McCormick.
Thank you all for that very warm welcome. Again, I'm Magnolia. I do the communications for the town. And so first we're going to look at the survey I did and then the impacts of that, what we're going to do with it, and everything else I do. So the survey it started October 15th, and the data within this presentation goes through January 23rd. Although the survey is still open, people are still welcome to fill it out, and I will still use that data to continue doing my job well. So during the time it's been out, we had Fall Town Meeting. We promoted it in town buildings like the library, the COA, and Town Hall. It was pushed on social media a bunch, and we sent an email to all registered businesses in town to ask for their input. So all of that is within this information we're going to look at. So in that time period, we got 304 responses. On social media, in terms of social media, 135 people, or 44.4%, said they did not follow the town on social media, but 55.6% do follow. And of those followers, most of them, almost overwhelmingly so, were on Facebook. So we've been pushing a lot of information out onto Facebook. The strengths people said that we had in the survey was there's a good balance of information, and it comes out timely, correct, and accurate. Our weaknesses, our top two weaknesses that were reported is that information needs to be easier to find and on a better variety of mediums, which we've been working to improve both of those since finding out that's what people want. People prefer to receive their information via email. So we're in the process of putting together an email newsletter that's going to help promote that. All of the topics we decide are important, we're hoping to get those out in an email newsletter to meet that demand. The second most common was mail, and so mail is a very expensive way to communicate when we have all of these other significantly less expensive ways. So we're working on enhancing the effectiveness of mailers that we already have. So that's going to be things like bills that get mailed out and like town meeting packets, making sure that those things are all put together in a way that's easy to understand. The next most popular was text message, and this is something we have access to through the town website. We can send messages about when events are, and we're going to work to encourage signups for that system so people know it's available, because it can't do much if it's not hitting the phones of the people we want it to. And then finally, the town website. I'm going to work with our system analyst, Chad. We're working to make improvements to the website, and on the survey we had a place for people to leave feedback for what they'd like to see on the website. A lot of this is much easier said than done, so it takes time to make these changes, but we are looking into ways to make the website easier to use, less clicks to get to where we know people want to go. And then we asked what topics people were most interested in, and how far in advance they want to be notified of those topics. So this information very much correlates with what we're seeing on our social media. Community events and programs get the most likes. Notices about traffic and public safety get a lot of likes, shares, and feedback, which is good because that draws people into our pages. We can also use this to shape messages we want to put out. So we know people need to be notified 1 week, 1 month, 1 day in advance. They want all of it, so we can give them all of it. If we don't know this, it's harder to do. And so we're going to choose our content based on this, and we're going to deliver it when they want it. We asked how the communications effort from the town was rated. This is what I've inherited, where we were at a base level. So I can see myself staying on with the town and over time asking this question again and again to make sure we're on track and continuing to improve our communication efforts. So on average, we're rating 5.25, which is not terrible compared to what people express and how frustrated they get. And 69% of people rated 5 or higher. So the people who were able to find the survey and fill it out are not furious with how we're communicating. They are getting some information. To social media, our Facebook outreach is doing really well since I've taken on our social media. These numbers are going to reflect our performance from September 5th to January 24th, and all of our percentages are going to reflect the 142 days prior to that, except for our followers, which is at 5.5 thousand, and that's been slowly growing, but that's where it's at currently and how it's been in the lifetime of our account. Our reach is up 172.7%, and we're reaching about 36,000 accounts. What that means is the amount of accounts, which we're going to correlate with people or businesses that are seeing our posts were tagged in, our shares, and our profiles. So, for example, when we post something and it gets a lot of shares, a lot more people outside of our followers are seeing it, which is good. We want to reach as many people as possible, and slowly they'll start to say, oh, the town of Dartmouth is posting great things, I should follow. We're going to grow our audience that way. And that with more posts, so in those about 6 months I've been here, there's 107 posts, which is almost 90% more than there were in that prior time period, which means we're getting a lot more interaction. Our posts are also more engaging, so people are more inclined to comment. There's some negative comments like there are with any sort of account, but a lot of comments are positive and really pushing us to continue communicating with the community. So in our survey, we asked where people get their news and what social media they give, and all arrows pointed towards creating an Instagram. People reported getting their news on social media overwhelmingly, and Instagram was second to Facebook. So we made the Instagram, and that was from mid-October to late January. We have over 100 followers. It's more than this number. It's, I want to say, around 130 now. We're reaching about that number of accounts, so it's harder to share on Instagram. It's a different platform, so the numbers are going to look different. And our interactions are also on par with the new account with not a ton of shares. Engage Dartmouth has had a bit of a facelift and a lot of new projects added to it. We have 12 new projects, all of which are relevant to what's been going on at Select Board probably over the last year plus. And with that, we've had 50% increase in site visits from the 6 months prior to when I was here. And now we're pushing Engage Dartmouth because you can engage with Dartmouth there. With that, we conducted our full survey on this platform, and we're also doing smaller surveys that are just 1 or 2 questions, like with the Dartmouth Regional Park, a question, hey, have you been? Are you planning on going? Just to get people familiar with the site, comfortable with using it, and encouraging them to sign up so we can continue pushing the message out to them. The Engage Dartmouth also has a really nice Q&A feature where we have one broad Q&A where people can ask a question about anything. It's linked to our Facebook, so anytime someone sends us a question on Facebook Messenger, they're prompted to go to Engage Dartmouth and fill it out to where I can direct them to a department head. I can gather the correct information and put it out for everyone to see, not just one person in one message. So that way, when people ask the same question over and over, there's one concise place to get the answers. We also have this feature on specific projects. So for example, Fonts Corner Road Route 6 intersection, which is one of the most complicated things I've ever heard about. There's a Q&A section specifically for that where we can get the information. We can reach out to Mass DOT if we need and make sure the absolute correct information is being distributed in a timely manner, which people care a lot about. The same thing with these complicated projects that seem like they drag on forever. We have the project timelines with the project they're affiliated with, and it'll show step by step what's already happened, what's expected to happen, and how those pieces fall into line together. So that has been really helpful, even with when I get questions from the media, oh, what do you expect the timeline on this to be, which is a common question that the media presents us. We can send them to Engage Dartmouth. This is where it's at. This is the correct information that you can cite. Also on Engage Dartmouth, we have the Who's Listening feature, which is the department head that's in charge of the project or overseeing it. It's got their phone number, their email, so if someone really needs to get in contact with them about it, they know where to go, they know the department. So all of this is pushing efficiency and correct information at the same time, which, what more can you ask for? So with that, in my day-to-day, I'm attending a lot of meetings, which I really enjoy because I get to know everything. And as a know-it-all, I love that. So some of those meetings are the long-range capital planning. When the migrant families were here, I was in on those meetings. I watch all of the select board meetings. I've gone to meetings at the COA, the DCC, you name it, I've been there in some capacity. And with that, I'm able to know these long stories. I can keep track of what's happening, what steps they're at, and who's working on those steps. And then I can also, in these meetings, present, this is how I would communicate it to the public. This is what the public might come back with this is what we would go back to them with, and sort of anticipate the best way to get the information out the way the town would like it to be presented. Another way we're getting information out is with press releases to the media. So anytime there's something important or something that's new that's happening, something that's quickly developing, a press release goes out to a list of community partners and media agencies that I've developed over time, and they get it. And then a lot of times you get follow-up questions to those press releases, so those are also coming back to me, and I can respond to those pretty easily, which is media relations. And so there's been a huge uptick in our media relations, even just the past 2 weeks with the elections and even the weather and a lot of enterprise stories that are going on. The media has really wanted to do a lot on Dartmouth, and we've been able to handle that really quick and get them connected to the people that are best for them to talk to for those stories, or just get them quick, fast answers. And then on top of all of that, we're doing social media, and I'm working to design social media for the platform, not just put out one post across everything, making sure that it's tailored to the platform so that way it's engaging and it's what people are expecting to see where they're at. And that's how we're going to grow our followers, grow our audience, etc. So I'm working with a lot of different departments, and each department comes to me with a message, or I find out what their message is by my own means, and then I start pushing it out. So some examples of that is working with the Department of Public Works. They are saying, no wipes in the pipes. And now I went on the tour of DPW, I saw the nastiness. I know why the wipes can't go in the pipes.
You can't unsee it.
That's not easy. That tour is not easy to articulate in a picture or just one post or even just one video. So I'm making easy to digest holiday posts for no wipes in the pipes. So you'll see my Don't Let the Wipes Haunt the Pipes for Halloween, and a little Valentine for wipes in the trash bins to be together for Valentine's Day. With the health department, another issue that could be really gory, but we can make really cartoony and easy to understand. When it gets dark and fall comes around, being aware of how to drive when deer are around, and just having a catchy post that's followed with a blurb that explains why this is important. So that way people are getting the bulk of the information in a very quick, fast manner. And then to plug the elections again, we're working with the town clerk. There's 4 elections this year. And we put out a press release about this. We've been putting out posts, and we know that people want to know 1 month, 1 week, and 1 day in advance of these things. So we are going to tell them over and over, this is when it's happening. So on that same note, our top performing posts come from a variety of departments. Our top performing post on Facebook in the past 90 days was the pickleball courts, the Parks and Recreation. And I was very glad to hear on that same note that they heard about the opportunity to join the board to build the recreation center from a Facebook post, which I posted. So very happy about that. So that Parks and Rec post reached about 12,000, a little over 12,000 accounts, which is phenomenal for one post to do. Our next most popular post really surprised me. It was when there was the construction from Eversource on Route 6. People were very grateful to know that was coming before they stumbled upon it on their morning commute. And I was right there with them, so I was like, we're helping everyone with this. The next post did not get as much positive feedback, nonetheless still important. It was the notice about the assessors going door to door, and people had a lot of opinions about that. They shared it around a bunch, but we were able to get them correct, accurate information within all of the confusion. And then Parks and Recs again, summer jobs. People were very excited to hear about this. I think people might just be excited to think about the summer coming, but it's those types of things that keep the posts interesting, dynamic, and not the same thing over and over, the same format. Now looking forward, we're going to be doing another town meeting video for the spring town meeting. So I work with Mr. McGinnis on that, and we go through the town meeting packet, or the warrant, all of it, and make sure that I'm asking questions that I would anticipate the average town meeting member to have, and then we're going to push that out on all the platforms. The last one we did, I got a very sweet email from a town meeting member who said it was the best video she had seen on the topic, and it was very helpful and insightful. So if we can do that and get all the town meeting members to watch it, who knows, town meeting might even be a little shorter. Long-range planning, I'm going to continue attending those meetings, and we're going to start pushing out the order of operations, the projects that are most urgent, and making sure people understand why we're doing one project over another. And then that's going to be pushed out depending on the project. It's going to depend on where it goes. Elections and votings, not to beat a dead horse. We're going to keep pushing it out. I'm going to keep working with our phenomenal town clerk and make sure everyone knows how to vote, where to vote, when to vote. And then upcoming projects, the Recreation Center. I'm already getting inspired listening to the board speak on their, or the soon-to-be board on their qualifications and what they're excited to do. So I'm excited to keep pushing that. And then we have the Apponeogeset Park Dyes Landing Master Plan. That's going to be really exciting. People love that area, and improvements or a plan to improve is going to be great. And all of this is going to keep getting posted on Engage Dartmouth, social media, the town website, the sign out front, paper just posted in all the buildings. Hopefully, everywhere you look in town, there's something reminding you of what's happening. And that's all I have.
Congratulations.
I'm going to give you a round of applause. Old-fashioned round of applause.
Mrs. Brooks?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Okay, Magnolia, thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for the information in our packet. I got to, review it in advance. But tonight, one of the things you said is correct information, and that is key. So often when you look at someone has posted something, even if it's as simple as, is it paper or plastic this week? People go down the rabbit hole and are still quoting that same post the following week when now the information is wrong. So I think it's so important that our information coming out from the source is the correct information. And I love the way that you also talk about being able to let people know where to find that information from themselves, because it is a learning curve. I also understand what you're saying when you're looking at the platforms and making your post appropriate for each platform, because they have different guidelines. And I also know that a number of folks are not looking at our website on a computer. They're looking at our website on their phone, which changes how it interacts. And so going forward, I didn't know if it was something that we were going to work towards to looking at an app format. So, the school department has their own app, and so everything that's posted when it goes into the app fits the screen appropriately and toggles nicely for the phone, different than it toggles on the computer. And I think that's something that we may need to be moving towards eventually, because I do know that there's a number of people, including, it seems, everyone I gave birth to, only uses their phone to get information. So, Magnolia, you are the age of the person who can solve that, not me.
You.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Mr. Mixler?
No.
McDonald?
No.
A couple questions. I know that we're on a cutting edge of this kind of communication, and there are other towns who are doing the same, not a lot. And could you speak a little bit about what do you think they're doing and how it might relate to us and help us along? And also, is there some kind of possible collaboration with the towns that are doing this kind of thing we are to make it even better?
Yeah, when it comes to the website, I've been looking a lot at Brookline's website. The way they have theirs structured, their buttons, I really like that. It seems easy to use and easy to navigate, so I've been working with Chad, the system analyst, on how can we make that on our website. They have the same base company, so it's just a matter of figuring out how to do it and seeing if it's something feasible for our setup. And then I've been looking a lot at Barnstable. I'm not from here, so please forgive my pronunciation of all these towns. No, you did it correct. They have a podcast, which I think would be really interesting to do about certain town issues. I would want to test the area, see if people would actually listen to it and what the production of that would look like, but it's something I'm interested at looking at moving to the full future that other towns are already doing.
The point is, there's a lot out there that we can
it's like a bottomless pit.
emulate or just outright steal.
Yes.
That's the most Flattery, that's the
Absolutely.
sincerest form of flattery.
The other, when you say text messaging, the pharmacy system seems to have they really understand, because they all want to do is keep renewing prescriptions. And is that the kind of message where it comes up and if you're getting all kinds of different kind of message, but it comes up that way? Is that the kind of format
I don't know if I've ever received a text message from a pharmacy, but
She's young,
I get 'em
Dave.
regularly.
The rest of us can show
You
you.
don't want to do that.
I think it's like an automated message that says like, you need to refill your prescription this date. So on our system, I'm able to write in up to a certain amount of characters exactly what I want the message to say based on the larger post, and then it links to it. So it is similar to that in a sense where it's formulated, sent out from.
So if somebody wants that kind of a message to a text, we're going to be able to do that?
Yes, absolutely. The sign up is on the website at the top where it says sign up for
Right, and
notifications.
that's, you ask for it, you don't get it because.
No,
You live
and
there.
I think you can sign up for specific notifications. Like I just want to know about Parks and Rec. I just want to know about meetings.
It's incredible how well developed those systems are.
Oh, absolutely. And we have them here in Dartmouth, so please sign up.
Please sign up, because I know I have signed up and I get information, and in all honesty, coming to the screen that you're carrying around with you all day long, makes it so much easier and timely,
My last comment is regarding Facebook, and I don't think it's not what it once was 5 and 10 years ago. And are we going to see that and therefore have to make up for it with other things, or you see that?
In my lifetime, there's been a lot of social media ever changing, and I think it's sort of like riding a wave. You just follow it, and it pushes you where it wants you to go. Like, there was once Vine, now it's TikTok, and we just
How
go
about
and move
MySpace?
with that. That's the dawn,
Was that
the
Ms.
dawn of
Brooks?
time
MySpace, that was like
my God.
before.
for me.
Oh, God, she's too young for
Before you were born.
MySpace.
Leave Tom alone.
Thank you. This was
Right
great.
here next, yep.
Yeah, so Magnolia's been here. She's done a phenomenal job when she's here. I think you're seeing like the results of this in a short period of time. One thing I will say is we're really trying hard to reach the community, and we're making every effort, but we need more people to even fill out the community survey. So when we see that 300 responses, we know we even have more than 300 town meeting reps. So we would imagine like all the town meeting members would want to take the survey, so to tell us how they want to be communicated with at a minimum. Now we have another 34,000 people in town, so we'd like to see more people taking the survey. So we encourage people to go to the website and continue to take the survey. But the results are clear. I think we saw that tonight in the last few weeks with the Recreation Center Building Committee. Because of Magnolia's new outreach, a lot more people are aware of what's going on, and they want to participate. So, that's a direct result of the work that she's been doing. So it's great. We have a lot to build on, and we'll continue to do that. But and again, with the engagement portal, we want people to utilize that because it's a great way for us to have a two-way communication that's beneficial to the community and accurate and correct. But it also has a number of projects that we cannot put on the website where people would look in a specific department. So this gives us, these are projects that touch multiple departments. So it's easier for the public to understand and access the information quickly and keep up to date on those things. So with that, that's it.
Excellent.
This
Thank
is a position and a category that is, the groundswell started with you, Ms. McGinnis, and here we are. We got ourselves a great
Excellent.
start. Anybody else?
Thank you.
All set, Maggie?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really
Thank you.
glad I got to
We're
share the
ready to move on?
information.
AMR borrowing approval, Mr. Carrero. Say, Sean, let's get Gary, take it over.
Gary can fill us all in on this.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the members of the board for having me tonight. So before we begin, I'm sure that the board has known that on January 24th, the town reaffirmed its AAA bond rating with Standard & Poor's. And I think that's important, not only because we have a conservative budget practice in town, we also adhere to financial policies set forth by the board and by the Finance Committee. And it's a testament, I think, to every department in town that they continue and monitor their budgets conservatively. And S&P, in my opinion, this is our report card, our financial report card. And to have AAA rating does mean a lot for the town. So, having said that, tonight we have as you know, the AMR is the automatic metering system for the water and sewer department. This has been a long time coming. It's been since I've been here, even prior to me. And we're finally getting this project, I would say about 65% complete at this time, 65 to 70% complete. They're outside still installing these devices onto the meters. This is the borrowing aspect of that. This was voted at town meeting, $2 million authorization. And what that means is we went out to bond to the market. We received 10 bids, which in this environment is unheard of, if you will. And that was at 2.4%, coming off of the bond rating. The investors that purchase these bonds thought it to be a good investment, purchasing town of Dartmouth investment vehicles. So tonight, this is part of the conclusion of this. The board hopefully will agree to sign this, and there's a vote that I must read. It's by the clerk, but I could read it in the record, if that's okay with everyone, and then we can.
This would be the motion for the select board to vote on.
Do we need any other discussion or any other information before you read that? And we're going to vote after you read it. Yes. Yes. Okay. Any comments before Gary begins? No.
This is just the extra copy, Sean, right, that I had given you. Right. The original is in there that they signed. Right, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I, the clerk of the Select Board of the Town of Dartmouth, Massachusetts, the town certify that at a meeting of the board held February 12th, 2024, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present. The following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted that the sale of the $1,840,000 general obligation water bonds of the town dated February 15, 2024, the bonds to Robert W. Baird and Company, Incorporated, at the price of $2,047,663.40 and accrued interest, if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. The bond shall be payable on February 15th of the years, and the principal amounts and bear interest in the respective rates as follows. Year 2025, $185,000, 5%. Year 2026, $185,000, 5%. 2027, $180,000, 5%. 2028, $185,000, 5%. 2029, $185,000, 5%. 2030, $185,000, 5%. 2031, $185,000, 5%. 2032, $185,000, 5%. 2033, $185,000, 4%. And 2034, $180,000, 4%. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the bonds, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated January 24, 2024, and official statement dated January 31st, 2024, the official statement, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the bonds shall be subject to redemption at the option of the town upon such terms and conditions are set forth in the official statement. Further voted that the town treasurer and the select board be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a continuing disclosure undertaking in compliance with section SEC Rule 15C 2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the bonds for the benefit of the holders of the bonds from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-insurance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds and to comply with relevant securities laws. Further voted that any certificates or documents related to the bonds, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as the original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmissions shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document, and electronic signatures of any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents and all matters relating to thereto having the same legal effects as original signatures. further voted that each member of the Select Board, the Town Clerk, and the Town Treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver of such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them, or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating that the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public all hours in the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 21.03 2 subsection B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting, that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sale of the bonds were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Laws, Chapter 30A, subsections 18 to 25, as amended. Dated February 12, 2024, Clerk of the Select Board. The end.
Motion to approve and to authorize Mr. Carrero to sign as the Clerk of the Select Board.
Second.
Any discussion or comments on the motion? Let's vote. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? I hear none. 4-0. Could you read it one more time, Gary?
Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, thank you.
Puts the town in a strong financial position.
AAA.
Thank you again.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Police Level 3 Charger Grant Approval.
Chris Vitale, the Assistant Town Administrator, is going to update the board.
Okay. All the young guns here tonight. Yeah.
It's quite a deal.
So in your packet, there is the proposal from Livingston Energy Group. I also included a memo with that proposal. So Livingston, they are a charging station installer, network provider. They have about 7,000 charging stations for electric vehicles across the country. They had reached out to us here a couple months ago about partnering with us to apply for federal incentive funding. So right now, they are working with different municipalities to access some of the stimulus funds so that we can do a EV charging station installation project here in town. So they reached out to us with their background information on their company, the services that they provide, and really what they have been working with other municipalities on to acquire these funds. We sat down with their account representative, our energy manager, and our chief of police, and we identified the parking lot to the north of the police station, or their northern parking lot, for 2 stations, 4 ports. Now, as part of the proposal, there's no out-of-pocket costs. So what would happen is, if we were to sign this proposal, they would start putting the application materials together. And if we were eligible and we got the funding, we could then sign on and do the full project. So no out-of-pocket cost to us. If they don't get the funding, there's no commitment to proceed forward. But all in, with their services to do the grant administration, the project administration, and the installation of the actual service itself, the total value to the town would be $416,000. And that would be really the cost of that infrastructure. So looking for authorization to sign that proposal tonight. And if you have any questions.
Yeah, so where are these units? You said 2? It says police level 3 chargers.
So, and maybe I missed that part. So with EV charging stations, there are different levels. And with each level, it's how fast does it charge your electric vehicle.
Right.
Now, level 3 is the highest. So you can get like 80% charge in 15 to 20 minutes. Right now, if anyone watching's ever been here to Town Hall, we have level 2 charging stations behind us. It takes a little bit longer. They're very efficient, but these are even more efficient. So the location of these would be at the Dartmouth Police Station. So 1390 Tucker Road.
But where in particular, where will they be situated?
So
In the
if you're,
back, you
so
said
if
the
you're on
back?
Tucker Road and you're looking at the police station, to the right-hand side, you have the right entry for the public parking area, and it would be those first 4 parking spaces that they'd be looking at. So there's a utility pole right there. So when we talked with our energy manager and their consultant, they said the installation would be relatively easy just because of its proximity
All right.
and access to the
Thanks.
public
Go.
as part of this.
So we currently have level 2 stations here at the Town Hall, at the Council on Aging, and the North Library.
That's right.
These are not going to replace any of those. They're just putting in 4 level 3 charging stations at the police department.
That's correct. So we did talk to them, and we did explore the option of having additional stations. The level 2 charging stations we have are still relatively new, and we did spend a lot to put those in. Now, I think when we identified the police station as a location, part of that is because the chief is looking at electrifying his fleet, and obviously having the stations there on site makes it a lot more practical to do that implementation over time and explore that that as an option. So I think as time goes on, you know, there is an option obviously to look at some other locations in town, but as of now, there's a need there, and the funding's available. So
Excellent.
Great.
I know how subject we are to procurement rules and government regulation. If this was a private industry project, I take it the cost would be considerably less than $416,000.
it does seem a little high. I am not a professional in that
Understand.
area.
It's an unfair question. But.
Yes, but you know, I think for us, it was very important that there was no out-of-pocket costs to the taxpayers. I think we wouldn't really explore this further if it was a substantial cost like that. You know, however, with the federal funding being there, it's likely that it's not going to, or it's unlikely that this is going to be a permanent funding source. So if that's out there, we want to take advantage of those dollars and try and bring that value back to Dartmouth.
Absolutely.
Great.
We need a motion?
Yes.
Motion to sign the agreement for the level 3 chargers for the location at the Dartmouth Police Department's building, parking lot.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? Ready to vote? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? I hear none. 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Next on the agenda, the AG settlement, Attorney General settlement with South Coast EMS.
Yes, this is just a notification for the board and the public that we received notice that the Attorney General's office reached a $1.6 million settlement agreement with the transportation providers Stat Ambulance and South Coast Emergency Medical Services. Stat, as you know, is the ambulance service provider here for the town of Dartmouth. In my correspondence with representatives from Stat, they stated that they had been working on this for some time with the Attorney General, but also most of the affected members of the community were related to the South Coast Emergency Medical Services and not Stat. And they are working in unison with the Attorney General's office to kind of come to terms, which they have. So I just added this to the agenda just to notify the public. And if the board had any questions that they wanted me to relay back to Stat or have them in at a future meeting, you can let me know.
Well, I think it's important that even though we got the email from, I can't think of the gentleman's name, Ryan?
Ryan
Cabral.
Ryan Cabral, stating that a lot of this was on the South Coast Emergency Medical Services. I still think that we need to allow the public to provide any type of commentary that they have, that they've had problems with the ambulance Stat itself in particular. If it has to deal with South Coast Emergency Medical Services, they can talk to the Attorney General's office. So if, I would suggest that if we have anybody in town who has an issue with stat, that they just come forward, send a email or come in directly, provide correspondence with the Select Board office, and we'll take a look at it and review. I think a lot of the complaints, though, from my understanding, or at least from what I can tell, has to do with the coding of the billing services. Now, generally, when you get a bill from the ambulance, they break it down into specific codes. And I guess it's important to know what those codes are. So recently, my mother-in-law was transported, and there is a copay. So, we understand that. And then we're looking at, the type of service. So now, when this came out, I basically went to Google and I started Googling the codes. So then I'm looking at, now the description was the service that she got the actual code that was billed for. She was billed at an ALS 1 code, which is I'm assuming is the code that, for transportation, but what kind of services did she get for that? And then there was a mileage charge. We all know that the IRS mileage charge is generally around 20, 30 cents a mile and whatnot. Stats was at $45 a mile.
Whoa.
So the question is why $45 a mile? Don't know, but that's something that was paid by her medical insurance. So, so I mean, there is, I do have some concerns over this. I said I would bring it up, and I'm bringing it up, and if there's people out there that have had issues with the billing practices of stat only, that they contact our office, and let's hear about them.
I would go one step further, Mr. McDonald. I think these are really serious charges, and they say to us it was mostly not stat, but it was whatever South Coast is, whatever that region is. And they have a lot of compliance going forward. They have a lot of training going forward. And I think we deserve an explanation, maybe in front of us, to tell us what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what to expect. And hopefully they have nothing but good things to say about the service they've given us, what they're going to do, but I think people deserve to know more. These are unbelievably serious. South Coast is alleged to have billed Medicare for medically unnecessary services that have failed to comply with federal requirements regarding medical necessity documentation for non-emergency transportation services. That sounds like a pretty draconian methodology of overbilling, and I think that what stat position and how it affects our residents, I think we should know more. That's my view.
Well, a lot of it also has to do with, the requirements of the contract, where we require, stat to have an ambulance readily and available.
No, this is about billing.
I know, I'm just saying, but it's also.
There's a cost to that.
But there's also a cost to that, and plus the fact that, I mean, most of these ambulance services, including municipalities, they need to meet the expenses in order to survive. Sometimes the question is sometimes I also have some questions regarding whether some of our town ambulances are being used for transportation, which requires, if there's an emergency somewhere in town, that, a mutual aid call goes out. Mm-hmm. So the question is, why was there a mutual aid call, instead of the town ambulance being readily available?
So that's the question that has to be. Some kind of more presentation, more information from this outfit?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear in the article what they're what the result is and why. If you have questions related to other items, I mean, this is really related, a billing
Well,
issue.
I'm just, I know this is the billing issue, but this was one issue that was brought up to me, as a look-see. So I want to see how many of these, come, whether it's just one person, complaining about something versus.
We can certainly have them in, and Stat's been really accommodating, certainly through COVID and, with the service they provide, so they're always happy to come in. So.
But if those numbers,
I was just going to say that I would like us to get a copy of the Attorney General's summary. What we've seen is a press release. We've seen the article in the newspaper, but we haven't seen the Attorney General's actual summary because, as Mr. McDonald states, he looked into it, looked for the coding of services and then the cost per mile. And at some point, we will be looking at negotiating the contract with STAT, and I'd like us to go into that eyes wide open. As you also mentioned about mutual aid, if we have a contract with STAT, and STAT is unable to answer the call, is their sister company the one that's coming in, and are they billed differently? Also, I think we're all aware of what just happened up in Winthrop, Mass., where there wasn't an ambulance available, and the fire chief put the child in their car and, ended up getting a police escort to the hospital. But we want to make sure that we're covered at all times.
Mr. Mickelson?
that, that number is more than just one incident. The number's large. So this is an ongoing charge that they really need to, it would seem to me they need to explain why they okayed that particular charge or that code as a general billing.
It could very well be that
It could be legitimate,
Yeah.
but let's give them a chance.
No, but it could very well be that Stat Service were getting the billing for the town of Dartmouth.
Let them come in and give us an overview.
Yeah, and the fact that they have to repay the settlement, $1.6 million.
They're going to pay $300,000 up front and over time pay the balance.
That's a chunk of change.
That's a hell of a lot of money.
That's a settlement.
And what it comes down, excuse me, and what it comes down to is this. All five of us have an obligation to look out what's best for the citizens of this town, period.
Let's just have them in and let's see what,
do we wanna,
give them the benefit of the doubt at this point.
And you mentioned our local fire department, and so maybe we could get an update from them as well, maybe at a separate meeting. That's
Yeah.
something to consider.
We
when
can talk
learn more
about that,
Stat.
Sean, we can talk about that with the fire
Right,
district,
okay.
all right?
Great.
When we have our meeting. And I'll report back on that.
So we want to, what do we want to request them to come?
I would say, let's see if we get any correspondence from the people out there. And as a matter of fact, let's put it out, let's use our social media and ask if there's anybody out there. This is not a fishing expedition.
Right.
We just want to see if anybody has any concerns, comments about, past what they feel might have been billing indiscretion.
Especially if they have a bill in hand.
Correct.
So I
Not
think
someone who
if that's the
assumes.
case, then we should,
Because then they could-
30 days from today or 60 days, we
Yeah,
should have them in?
I would think 30 days is
30
fine.
days,
Yeah.
ask that to come in. And what do we want them to come in for? What are we asking them
Oh,
to
take
do?
a look at what we get.
Between now and then,
Yeah,
we'll
between
talk
now and
about
then.
this.
If there's nothing,
Asking Stat to come, when we ask them to come in, what do we want them to come in for?
we'll take a look at what we get for
And
response.
those will be our questions.
In addition,
After we,
Okay.
let's wait to see what we get for responses. I'm not gonna bring somebody in here for A, B, and C when we're looking at D, E, and F.
And I would still like to get a copy of the Attorney General's summary.
okay. So we're going to give basically 30 days to hear from people regarding this.
You're right. Yes.
Our communications director get out there and notate people, and then we can then make a decision on when and how we're going to approach Stat. going
Correct.
forward. Okay, we don't need to vote on that.
No.
Any other comments on that? Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. McDonald, I think you brought that up to make sure we got it before us. Thank you. Thanks for taking care of that, Mr. McGinnis. Okay, next, we're coming around the bend, rounding third. The town administrator update. Ready for that?
Not many updates that haven't been discussed, mostly storm-related. The town offices are physically closed tomorrow, but staff will be working remotely. As was mentioned, tomorrow is the last day to turn in nomination papers for the town election. The town clerk is going to try to make arrangements to be here, but she left her cell phone number, and there'll be information on the website if you need to reach her. DPW has issued a number of notices related to the storm. Solid waste and recycling is canceled for tomorrow. The transfer station will be closed, and the parking ban is in effect through Wednesday. So, and that's it.
Anybody else? Mr. Mickelson, Mr. McDonald?
On town administrator stuff? No.
Good point. Okay.
That's why we don't,
I
that's
jumped
why
before
we
I
really,
say anything.
that's why we really don't have
Just
any,
testing it.
we don't have anything to say. Last time we
Old
looked.
business, excuse me.
Bliss Corner, no new updates. Same with Lake Nokichoka, the broadband survey was due last Friday, so they're culminating those results now. And Mass DB Title V, no new updates.
Okay. We have minutes to approve from January 22nd.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I had, approve, second. I had one question. On the Rogers Street, Russell Mills Road signing, it said in the minutes the vote was to remove signs, but there was also some question about rewording or both.
I think it's both.
But the motion said to remove signs. It didn't say to reword.
There was no rewording. There was just a number of signs. So
So we're
instead
just
of,
eliminating signs? I thought there was something about
well,
rewording.
to reword,
something.
so it's no parking between. Right now it says no parking.
Right.
Yep.
They're going to remove a number of signs. It'll say no parking between signs.
Okay, and so they're going to change the wording of the signs?
Yes.
But the motion
It'll
says,
say.
Motion
no,
that, though,
you don't know.
because DPW, we take care of
If-
that.
If you go down the street, there's
It
at least
is-
7 signs in
it
one
is
side.
ridiculous.
So why have 7 when you just need one and one and say nothing in between?
Period.
no, that's not my point. The motion says
it
to
is.
remove signs.
Yeah, we're gonna remove
We are
signs.
removing
You're
signs.
removing
And we're
signs
going to
and-
reword some.
and changing the,
Well, the
changing.
motion doesn't say that.
It doesn't, come on, it's common sense.
Okay?
David's,
Let it alone?
I think,
Don't be
I
too
think
literal.
everyone needs to,
Okay.
not tomorrow in the snow, but just drive to that area
No,
and
no,
see
I'm not
how
debating that. No, no,
absolutely
I-
ridiculous
That's
it
not the debate.
looks.
I
Yeah.
know it has to be done. Okay. Okay. Select board updates.
Minutes.
Minutes.
minutes vote.
Minutes, boy, I'm
22,
butchering the end of this, I'm sorry.
24.
January 22nd, we had a motion.
Motion was made by me
And a
and seconded by
second.
Mr. Mickelson.
All in favor of approving the minutes of January 22nd, the motion,
Yes.
please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none? Okay.
Updates.
Okay, now we move on to select board updates.
Do you have anything, Stan?
No, I have something informational, but not an update.
Okay, all right, I just have one quick, well, maybe not so quick.
Oh, God.
I know.
Jesus.
I have one as well, so
It's good
okay.
to hear that Eversource has decided to send us a check for the work that was,
Talk about a butcher job, yeah.
right, for the destruction of a sewer line over on Hemlock Street. It was nice to see that. And the concerns that we also have was based, also at another time, was the double pole issue. And just kind of the odd response from Eversource saying there are no double poles in town. First of all, if there were no double poles on, Eversource was working on a project where they had double poles. So, I mean,
There are double
that was on Allen Street.
There are double poles.
Right.
A whole bunch of them.
But in a very quick trip throughout the town, I was able to find at least 2 dozen, and then a quick post on social media, I ended up getting about another dozen or so, along with photos and whatnot. And I understand, I'm not sure if Eversource owns every single pole in town, whether it's Verizon that also owns, but I would like a letter sent out to Eversource and to Verizon, and I want them to send us a list of the double poles in town with the locations, but also the reason why there's a double pole, and how long has it been a double pole, and what's the reason for the holdup. Because we all know that Verizon uses a pole, Eversource uses the pole, Comcast uses the pole, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the fire department also uses the pole for their signaling. So I want to know who's holding up the removal of their equipment from the old pole to the new pole and whatnot, so that we can put the pressure on. Those individuals to get it done, so that we can remove the pole. Because to be honest with you, Channel 5 did a story on this.
I was just going to tell you, yes.
Channel 5 did a story on this, and a quick Dartmouth into the database ended up with 21 poles, and I know there's more than 21 in this town. So,
And
I
double
know
poles.
Eversource is looking to do more projects in the town, and I don't want to be the stick in the mud and withhold any kind of projects until I get that information. So I'm going to give them, some time to get that information to us. Probably, I would like to see it sometime during a summer meeting.
Double poles are dangerous.
But double poles are also illegal in the state of Massachusetts now, and so it shouldn't be just we telling them.
It should be the state.
Well,
but,
they
you know,
must have some kind of permitting process that they can put a double pole in exactly to change out the power
It's emergency.
whichever, but it's a permitting issue. But they're not in,
We haven't had that many accidents. I mean, I can see when there's a double pole when there's been an accident and half the pole is gone and they double
Right.
pole them, but we haven't had
But
that
these-
many
these
accidents.
they're replacing equipment on top of these poles. And look, I'm not sticking up for them, honestly. But there has to be some kind of permitting. They're not going to, at any point, just willy-nilly start putting in double poles.
I can
without some kind of-
pretty much tell you that the people that are holding up the removal of the second pole is not Eversource.
I'm sure it is. So
Because
let's
Eversource, they need to move they need to put their electrical equipment, and they got the power lines have got the top spot in the poles.
Always the
They
higher.
got the highest
higher
point.
power is the,
So
Stuff at the lowest point, that's the
So
problem.
we're going to write to Eversource and to
Eversource, yeah,
Verizon. Okay.
Eversource should have a list.
they'll have a list.
And we want it back when from
And they'll
there?
have a reason why they're doubled.
I like to have it,
30
give them.
days.
It
give
seems
them
like we
60
can give
days.
them
I
a
don't care.
deadline. We wanted that check when?
Yeah.
Took a while.
No interest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
happy
Mr.
with the
McGinnis?
check.
No argument there, okay. Next, anything else?
No.
Mrs. Brooks? I have something to say. I wasn't here last week. I was in remote, and I'd like to talk about the town administrator's contract. This board unanimously wanted to renew the contract, and we also then unanimously supported the contract, and Mr. McGinnis did accept it, which we thought was the whole contract was reasonable. All you had to do was listen to Mr. McGinnis's presentation regarding finances to the Joint Committee, his understanding of systems and finances, and certainly our big town structural limitations. That presentation ended up, the bottom line was that the town found money, we didn't have an override, and we'll continue that process. We've had many successes over the last few years. Electronic online sign-ups and registrations, a AAA bond rating, a lot of new staffers that were here tonight making presentations, Chris Vitale, Gary Carrero, Maggie McCormish, just to name a few. These were people brought in by Mr. McGinnis. And then certainly one giant windfall is our town-wide focus on long-range planning. But on the other hand, nobody's perfect. Mr. McGinnis has shown a willingness to listen, to look at what we can do to make his job better and our job better as well. This board has assigned myself and Ms. Brooks to put together a presentation to Mr. McGinnis first on goals going forward regarding how we communicate to each other, how Mr. McGinnis communicates to staff and to people, and he's willing to listen, and we're going to put together something that is going to have a 6 and 12-month review to it. I think it will have a lot of teeth and meaning, and he's been more than willing to accept the fact that we need to do a better job and will do a better job with our support and his recognition of that. Just because we processed 3,300 beach stickers, which is an amazing number, the people who didn't like what happened or somehow didn't work, they deserve their day in terms of cleaning up that system and better communicating. And I'm not blaming anybody personally, but or how about the thousands of online building permits we've done? A handful of them did not go well. There was a problem, but you can't just bypass those. And we're willingness to make sure what happened, how we can improve it. But on the other hand, thousands of permits have been done and done well. So I look forward. Our goals will become a public part of the record, and I look forward to the next couple of weeks. We're going to finish that up. Ms. Brooks and I are going to meet next week. We met once already next week, and then you'll be back after that, and we're going to sit and do that. It's been 2 full years for me working with Mr. McGinnis on a regular basis. I think I have a little bit of a different insight, but I also know that he's a proud individual who's done a great job in my view, but we need to do certain things better, and we will, because we're going to collaborate and we're going to recognize what they are. So thank you, and I appreciate what you've done for us, and I look forward to be bigger and better going forward. Okay?
Here, here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I have something.
Oh.
I
We're
want
talking
to
about
get,
your contract now?
yeah,
Okay, that'll be short.
for all the hot dog carts at the Round Hill, I'll bring them back, and there'll be $2.25 a hot dog.
Well, let's be frank about it.
All right, I've already heard that so many times, please. So I want to give Fire District 1 a big shout out. This past Saturday morning, one of our homeowners' carbon monoxide sensors were going off, and they were at the house within less than 3 minutes. The homeowners were thrilled to death with the service and the smile and the professionalism that the crew that showed up to help them and calm them down, because they were very nervous, obviously. They even changed the batteries. And they just called me to tell me how and the wife is on the other end of the phone saying, they were so nice, they were so nice. I know that's their job, but you know what? We don't give them enough credit. Thank you so much from myself personally that we got such a nice report from you guys. Thanks again.
Great.
That's great.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
I don't know that he got it out.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, I hear none. We are adjourned.